Welcome back to the Sick and Successful podcast. Check out my new setup. If you're listening, you're not going to see it, but if you're on YouTube, I am filming from an iPhone I just got for the business. So I'm hoping you like this because setting up the whole camera has been exhausting, which has made me not film for a little bit. I'm excited to record this episode for you because I'm gonna get a little bit more raw, real, and vulnerable, which you know I'm good at over here. If you're watching on YouTube, I am literally in my Bluetooth, in my blue light blocking glasses, my hair up, I have sweatpants on, you can't see them, and I've just gone through like a month and a half of some extreme burnout. So we're gonna get into that in this episode. If you are a business owner, specifically if you are a business owner who identifies as sick, and what I mean by sick, just so you're aware, is really anything that you can define that word as. So if you are chronically ill, if you have mental health, struggles, if you have anything that is really life-altering and isn't quote-unquote normal is what I see as sick. So really, for me, it means my chronic illness, but for other people, it can mean depression, anxiety. It can mean, hurting their ankle for 7 months or 6 months or 6 weeks, like you heard in a past episode. Like, there's so many different things that just you can identify as sick and still be a business owner. So that's what I mean. If you are in this world, in this sphere, you probably have heard the word burnout before. And I've heard it, but I never experienced it like I really did in the last couple of months. And I kind of want to open up the doors, open up the lights, and shed what that feels like and make it a conversation that we can have together. So I would say the beginning of this year, beginning of 2021, was really tough for me for a multitude of reasons. And it kind of was like this pivotal moment in my business. Even though my business was only technically 6 months old, I restructured everything, took a step away from my business partner at the time. And at the exact same time, my business exploded. It blew up. I think we doubled or tripled our income. We brought on 5 new employees, I guess contractors technically, and we grew really, really quickly. So we went from maybe 4 ongoing social media clients to around 20. It was a fast growth. And it was, from approximately January to March, April, where all of the onboarding, the new clients, the fun, the excitement of growing the business, and the sadness of changing the structure and all of that kind of stuff. When April hit, we really slowed down and we, just continued doing the business for our clients the way we do and making sure we're doing everything to serve them. But there wasn't as much as sales calls and discovery calls and trying to grow the business. It was more so trying to implement everything that, catch up to everything that had happened since January to April. And in around, I'm going to say, just trying to look back, August to September, it started ramping up again. So we hired 2 new employees, 3 new employees, and we started doing more sales calls and more discovery calls and bringing on new clients. And it was really quick. At the exact same time, I decided to relaunch our program, Ready, Set, Record, which if you've listened to the podcast, we had 5 episodes that week. It was an hour every day that I went live with a full group. We started the program Ready, Set, Record, or I started the program Ready, Set, Record a few weeks back. In that week, we also had an RFP, and for those of you that don't know what an RFP is, it is a request for proposal. So large companies put these out so that they can get quotes from multitudes of companies. Something you're probably familiar with or you can think of is when a government is hiring for construction on roads or things like that, they put out an RFP so that construction companies can bid for the job and that they can have at least 3 different bids so that they can see the different prices and what different companies offer and then choose one to give that business to. So we had a marketing RFP that we were really excited about, that one of our clients referred to us, that we really wanted to get, but it took us it took me approximately 15 hours a day for a full week. The RFP came out on a Monday. It was due on a Friday. And my employees and my partners in my business were working just as hard to get this out because it would meant a lot to us to get that business. I'm trying to be like as vague as possible, but it was a lot in 1 week. So we were in the middle of a launch. We were working on this RFP that we really put everything into because we wanted the business. We were ramping up. We just finished hiring 2 employees, so we went through a full round of interviews with, I think there was like 10 interviews the week prior. It was like one thing after another. And when that week ended, on that Friday, sent off the RFP, I feel like my body just completely shut down. And for the following few weeks, I really went through this season of extreme burnout that I haven't felt before. And looking at my calendar and seeing that I was booked like 5 back-to-back meetings every single day up until like November, December at the time, I had just this moment of, I want to burn this whole thing down. I am done with business. I'm going to start applying for some VP of marketing jobs for startup companies or other companies. I don't want to do this anymore. The pressures of owning a business and supporting my whole family and being the main source of income in our family at the moment, and just like supporting 10 contractors and employees and creating all of these new things. And it just, the weight of the world was on my shoulders. Do you relate? Is there a moment in your life or in your business where you can kind of look back and see the weight of the world was weighing you down? And I didn't feel that spark for business anymore. And I didn't feel that excitement of new clients. And I felt like I was letting everybody around me down. The new employees, I wasn't onboarding them properly. The new clients for Ready, Set, Record, I didn't have their emails out to them. All of these things, my calendar was just so booked up, and I had to take a step back. And this is my advice to you if you're in that season, or if you've been in that season, or if the season's coming up, because as an entrepreneur, we go through ebbs and flows. I had to take a step back and look at my calendar and say, what isn't serving me at the moment? What is really filling up my time in a way that isn't giving me joy, that isn't filling up my soul, that is sucking me dry at the moment? That doesn't mean it's not going to change in different seasons of business, right? Because business is that, it is seasons. So I took a step back. I really focused on my health and on resting. I slept as much as I could sleep. My family and my family and husband was aware of what I was going through, and so they gave me space and time to rest as well. And then my employees and my contractors helped support me, and we moved all of our podcast interviews until the new year. At this point, I had like 2 or 3 podcast interviews lined up until January. So I had to reschedule them all and cancel. So for anyone who has an interview coming up, thank you for being flexible. There's some amazing people, but I just realized I couldn't add more to my calendar at the moment. So I took back as much as I could. I filled in as many days that I didn't have meetings as I could. And I'm making a vow to take next to no meetings November to December, and definitely none of interviews going forward. Even the last interview that you guys just heard in the previous episode, that was someone close and dear to my heart who I follow and I'm obsessed with. So I made an exception and had an interview with her, but otherwise, literally there's nothing on my schedule when it comes to podcast interviews. This is a real and honest conversation that I sat down to talk to you about because I wanted to share. But in general, I am not forcing myself to these arbitrary deadlines and arbitrary standards that I've put on myself. So I really refocused my priorities when it came to business. And number 1 is making sure our clients get top tier quality service. It has always been that has never faltered. And number 2 is that my employees have the proper onboarding and that they have the proper support and my time. And number 3 is doing the things that I really enjoy in my business and getting my business set up in a way so that as we're continuing to grow and in this really, fast growth period, that I can support it and that I can enjoy it instead of wanting to burn it all down to the ground. I would love to know, if you're a business owner, can you put up your hand and comment in the comment section below in YouTube, or send me a DM if you're listening to the podcast and tell me, have you ever wanted to burn your business down to the ground? I am in a few different groups of entrepreneurs, and I call it my Britney Spears moment, because it was like my shave my hair off moment. I'm quitting my job. I'm quitting the business. I'm taking a step back. It can run itself. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm getting a real job, quote unquote, moment. I posted in some of the entrepreneur groups that support me, and I got a lot of response that I'm not the only one the pressures of entrepreneurship is that whole premise of we weren't built to be chased by a lion all the time. And that's what entrepreneurship can really feel like sometimes, is that there's constant fires, there's constant lions chasing us, and our body is just responding to this constant stress. Like, I have probably 30 messages on my phone right now I need to reply to, at least 10 emails, and I stay on top of those emails. I have text messages, I have calendar invites I need to get out, invoices, finances, bookkeepers, this, that, and there's just so many balls to juggle. And something that my business coach, Giovanna, she is phenomenal. I'll make sure to link her in the show notes in the description below. But something she told me, which I think her husband told her, is that in life we juggle many different balls. And some of those balls are rubber and some of them are glass. And we really have to recognize which balls can we drop that will bounce back up when we're ready, and which balls, if we drop, they're going to shatter and be harder to pick up. For me, I know one of those balls that are glass is my health. And when that ball shatters, it takes a really long time to get it back up. And does it ever come back fully? I don't think so. And so that's a ball I have to hold close. My family is another one, right? My daughter and my husband and my close family, I want to give them all of my attention. They are my main priority in life. If I drop that ball, like, that shatters and I don't get those days back. And so I recognize that I'm getting really close to dropping these 2 glass balls, and some of the balls, like the podcast episodes and some other things in my business that I was putting on the stress on myself, can drop. And also that I could pick up some other things that are really stressing me and that I could get organized. For example, our books and our finances have been a stressor since like day one of the business, because I am someone who hated accounting in university. Like, traumatized. It was the first class that I dropped, the only class that I dropped and had to retake and didn't do well in, and just like my brain hurts when I think about accounting. And so I've, hired a bookkeeper, and it hasn't been great, and there's been issues, and it's been a mess. And I got to this point where in this burnout season where I was like, that is a constant stressor on my brain, that like it's not organized, the taxes are coming up, things are going to be a mess, it's going to take so long to figure out. So I went and I found a phenomenal resource. Her name is Lisa Jarvis. I will put the link down below. Also, if you are a Canadian entrepreneur, you need to join her Facebook. I'll make sure it's in the comments down, or in the comments. I keep saying that. I will make sure it's in the show notes and the description down below so you can join her Facebook group. Canadian entrepreneurs, you need to join. It's free and there's so much information. But I joined actually her paid program, which is a 6-week program that takes you through step by step as a CEO, getting your books in order so that you can still outsource someone, but you have an understanding and everything's clean. So I did that, and that took a huge stressor off of me. So really, when you're in the season of burnout, it's taking a huge step back and doing this like headshot view, like overhead view. You know what I'm talking about? View from the top of your business and your life and your calendar and whatever it is that is causing you a lot of stress, and slowly finding a way to untangle that mess. On a day-to-day basis, we're in it, especially as entrepreneurs, putting out fires constantly. If we're not taking care of ourselves, our business, our family, everything's going to fall apart. So we need to focus on ourselves. And that is it for today. Remember, dream big. It's possible for you, and your next version of success is around the corner.